Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike and today I've got a get ready with me for you. This is my get ready with me with the Shop My Stash products for September. So all of these products you will have seen me select in my Shop My Stash, and today I'm sort of like doing a makeup look with all of these products and sort of tell you my thoughts. That's what I usually do, but in case you didn't know, I was running a giveaway because my blog celebrated its 10th anniversary this month. And I asked people who participated in that giveaway if they had a question for me to do a Q&A. So I'm going to be putting some of the questions that I got for that giveaway in today's video as well. So it's going to be a right up mix of all these different things. I'm going to be talking about the makeup, but I will also be answering some of those questions that I got in the giveaway. But I got so many questions in that giveaway because so many people entered, so that was really, really fun. But it does mean I have way more questions than what I could possibly fit into one video. So I'm just gonna go and I've categorized them into the different categories. So are just some general questions about me, who I am, for people who don't know. A lot of people had questions about being on YouTube and blogging in general. People also wanted to know about my teaching job a little bit, and that's already 24 questions. And then I have another 20 questions about makeup, skincare, beauty, fashion. So I'm gonna try and tackle those 24 questions from those first three categories first, and then I'm going to be doing another Q&A, I think before the year is out. I'm not sure yet when I will be planning it because I pretty much have all of my content planned for the rest of the year. So, but I have enough questions to do another Q&A if I feel like it. So I'm going to be parking the makeup questions and save those for a rainy day, you could say. Because I still want to answer them and I want to do them justice because you guys had really good questions. By the way, if you did win in my giveaway, then by now you will have received an email from me. So check your spam folder just to make sure. I'm not announcing anyone publicly because that's what I never do, because that always leads to weird things happening. I don't know why. There's always something going on. So if you've won, you now have an email, just so you know. So let's get started with the questions and the makeup look and all that. And I'm going to get you started with a primer like I normally do. This is the I Heart Revolution Coconut Dream Primer, and this, you guys, is almost gone. I do have to say though that in this month that I was using this, I have discovered that this is a bit of a finicky one. And I reviewed this yesterday on my blog because I wanted to let the world know that if you use too much of this, your foundation will be ruined. Which of course, if you think of the purpose of a primer, which is to make your foundation stay put, isn't really exactly a good thing. So what happened to me was that I had my foundation sort of coming off in little rolls, just flaking off. And I was I couldn't figure out, I thought it was my skincare. It was always around my jawline here, so I thought maybe I've got dry skin, and right here around my eyebrow, so it was always in the same places roughly, but every day it was in a different spot, so I couldn't figure it out, and it was is it my sponge? Is it the foundation? And then I tried another foundation and it still happened. So the entire month, on and off, I had good days where my makeup looked great, and then some days where it just looked absolutely crappy, and I figured it was using too much of this. So this feels very nice and creamy when you put it on, and it feels like a moisturizer kind of, so you have a tendency to use too much. And I also feel that when you squeeze it out, because of the texture of the product, it's very easy to squeeze out too much. So only a thin layer will do, and then it's a okay primer. It's just that I don't want to think about how much primer I put on in the morning. It's just a pump and then I'm good, you know, that sort of thing. Just want it to be fat-free. Priming my lids with the Lorac, what's this called? Behind the Scenes eyeshadow primer real quickly. And then we'll just get to question number 1 real quickly. And that is just my horoscope sign. My birthday is in July, in case you didn't know, so that makes me a Cancer. Early July, that's when my birthday is. Question number 2, what is the best thing about living in your country? Or what are the best things about living in your country, in case you don't know? I live in the Netherlands, and I think that as much complaining as everybody does, I think the Netherlands is a pretty good country to live in. I mean, we have a high standard of living, of course, so that's always nice. And we do have lots of perks, you know, healthcare and schooling, while becoming more expensive than what we're used to, is still affordable. You know, we have our problems here, but there's plenty of things that are nice about the Netherlands. So I think that, yeah, one of the best things, I think, that especially because I've been to countries where public transport wasn't very good, I think that because we have decent, like pretty decent public transportation, so that's okay. I think that's a great perk because I don't even own a car, you guys. Like, I've been living in a city in the Netherlands for like the past 16 years of my life, and I have a license, but I've never owned a car because I can get to every place I want to get to without a car. Like, it's just feasible. Like, the Netherlands is not a very big country anyways. So the third question, how do you deal being quarantined during the pandemic when after everything is over? What will be the first thing you will go and do? Well, we didn't have a full-on, like full-blown lockdown or anything. It's not as if you couldn't really go anywhere, even though like public transport and all that was like minimized to like the bare minimum. I definitely didn't go anywhere for like a good 3 or 4 months, but ever since like June-ish, you know, a lot of the measures have been lifted. However, tonight there's going to be another press conference, and it means tightening of some of the measures, because I live in a city where currently a lot of cases are starting to happen again. So it's that hasn't been pretty. So but yeah, I've been actually thriving during lockdown. Like, I've been working from home since March. September was the first time in over 6 months that I taught a class live in a classroom with students. But I have to say that it's been pretty good. But I'm pretty good at being on my own. That's another question that's actually coming up. Like, I love being by myself. So for me, this was no biggie. The only thing I'm really missing is concerts, like live concerts. I love going to a live show. And everything that I had tickets for was, of course, canceled over summer. So yeah, that's probably one of the very first things that when things go back to normal, one of the first things I'll probably do is buy a ticket to a concert. I still have a ticket that is valid for a concert that's been postponed twice by now. Live music is the first thing I'll go back to. And then another question linked to that, like these questions are all linked to that, like once you get going again, if you can travel again, where would you go to? So if I were to travel again, like the first place I want to get to is London. I definitely would like to go back to Paris again for a day. Those are like my standard, like sort of like yearly trips. I just like going to London once a year, and I like going to Paris like once a year just to shop and have fun and see some sights and have some different food and do all that. I think that's one of the perks of living in Europe. Like, Paris is 5 hours away. It's like you're in a different country where they speak a different language. So it always feels like you've then been away. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it would be a short trip like that. A long trip that I definitely would like to go on is I would like to go to Japan. That was actually my plan for next year, is to go to Japan. But I've kind of postponed that like another year because, again, I don't see myself cooped up in an airplane for like 18 hours to get to the other side of the world. It's not gonna happen. Like, if I can avoid it, I'm not gonna do it. And then question number 5, have you ever traveled to an African country, and which one? If not, which one would you want to travel to? Africa is definitely a continent I would like to get to at some point. Like, one of the countries I've always wanted to go to was Egypt. But then, of course, you know, stability in the region isn't always the best over there. Morocco I'd like to go to, but I'd love to go to South Africa. One of my great uncles used to live in Tanzania, so that's always been intriguing as a country to me to go there. And I have friends who've been to places like Malawi and Kenya and all that, and everybody says how wonderful it is. So but that's like long-term perspective, not anytime soon. And then question number 6, what is the best place you have ever been to in the world? Would you move away from the Netherlands to live somewhere else? And if so, where then? I definitely always said that I was going to live in the US at some point, until I figured out how hard it would actually be to live in the US and to live in another country, like with the kind of standard of living that you're used to here. Very often, like, your degrees aren't worth as much in different countries and you have to start over, and it's all very complicated. So I don't think I'd move that quickly anymore. But that was definitely like a dream when I was like a teenager. I wanted to live somewhere else. I did live in the States for 6 months on an exchange program when I was at university, so I definitely had like a taste, but nothing like long term, like for a few years or something like that. I would have liked that. But yeah, best place I've ever been to in the world. I don't really know, because I think if you're traveling, you only see, like, if you're there for 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think you really get the vibe of what it is like to truly live in a place, because you don't really, even though you have your hotel or whatever place you're at, you don't have like that one spot from which you do things, and you don't really have the chance to build up a network, and you don't really have a lot of things going on like that. So for me, based on places where I've traveled, I find it very difficult to decide where I would want to go. I think if like the opportunity came to be, and I wouldn't even really care what country it is, you know, if it's like a good opportunity, then I would definitely take it upon. So for me, it's much more whether the situation would lend itself to it rather than the location, if that makes sense. All right, let's continue doing this makeup look, because I can talk for hours, you guys. I wanted to talk about this too. The Zoeva, what's it called again? Authentic Skin Natural Luminous Foundation. I have this in the shade 030N Ambition, and I was wearing this a lot in the second half of the month. I have yet to review it on my blog, but people have already spotted that I was wearing this in a few videos, and a lot of you were commenting on how good my skin looked. This is a really good foundation, I think. I wore it in the rain today because I'm filming this after I got home from work. It held up pretty well in the rain. It held up pretty well during a very sweaty body combat class. Like, if it can survive a workout, then I'm usually pretty happy. The shade match is nice. The luminosity this has is really nice too. It's got a lovely finish. So let me just stop talking and put this on for you so you can see how it goes on. It has a really nice lightweight texture. It has more of like a light to medium kind of buildable coverage, which is what I prefer. And I've actually, because some of you were liking my YSL L'Oreal comparison that went live on Sunday, but I'm planning on putting this up against what a lot of people have been claiming is this the dupe. No, this is the dupe for the other foundation that I just got, which is the Anastasia Luminous Foundation. So a lot of people have been comparing those. So I want to do like a wear test where I try one of these foundations on each side of my face and then wear it for a day to see how they wear and compare. But I only just got the Anastasia foundation in, so I haven't even been able to try that yet. So I first need to try it by itself, and then I can put it into a comparison. So that's like not until like, I hope to be able to do that like before the end of the year though. Okay, so do you see how easily that went on? Oh, and it's so, like, do you see how even it is? And it just really nicely evens out my skin tone. It has, for a neutral shade, because this was described as a neutral shade, I do feel it's quite yellow, but it's not as neutral as I'd hoped. But as one of you was commenting, because this has a bit of warmth, it doesn't make me look like super ghostly pale. I mean, yes, I'm pale. It's just the way it is. But as you can see, it's got a really nice shade match to my skin tone. I nailed this one. I'm very proud of myself for being able to find the right color match from just looking at it online. But yeah, as you can see, really nice. Is this the best foundation I've ever tried? I'm not sure I can go for such a bold claim yet, but so far I'm really liking this. Like, this is so glowy, it's so nice. Like I said, it wears well throughout the day. It's very easy to put on. It's ticking a lot of boxes, I have to say. Concealer, Essence Stay All Day. I can definitely like get just a little bit of product out of this. but it's pretty much gone. Like when I do my Shop My Stash for You next week, this will be going into my makeup empties for the year, because this is exceedingly difficult to get any product out. Yeah, there's hardly anything on the wand. So right now, I think we can just chat about some more questions, and then I'll just talk about some of the products I have coming up. I will make sure to put all the products I'm using in the description box so that you have an idea, because there's too much to do, like questions and makeup. So there were a few things I really wanted to talk about. So that's what I want to talk about, but then we're going to go back to the questions. So let me see. We had question number 7. That's where we're at. Is there a turning point in your life? Yes, there definitely is. How do you live your day-to-day life? How would you describe your relationship with others in the world? Thoughts on independence and loneliness? And I believe someone said as well, like how much you're willing to share. I've definitely had a turning point in my life. 2009 is the year that will go into the history books as the year where I really had to figure out, like, what do I want? How do I want it? And a lot of what you see me do today is part of that, because I pretty much started my blog after that and started doing things, and, you know, really tried to just figure out how to live life on my terms instead of that of others. And I think that that's, you know, I think everybody kind of has. I'm not sure if everybody has that, but I hope you do at some point, because it was very helpful for me. It wasn't a very pleasant experience when I was going through it, for sure. It wasn't the best. Powder I'm using is Hourglass Veil. And yeah, so it was like burnouts and being ill and really bad hay fever, but also lots of traveling, and like some of the places that I really like to travel to, like New York and London, like that all happened in that year too. So for me, 2009 is a very, very essential year. And when it comes to some of the other questions here, my relationship with others in the world, like I already mentioned, like I've been thriving this pandemic because I just really like being by myself. Like it takes me a lot to feel like lonely, because I am just almost too good at being alone. Like I just love being by myself and not having anyone around. Like that's when I recharge my battery, when there's no other people. So that actually technically makes me an introvert. Did you know that? I'm much more like sort of like in between. Like I can be like sociable in sociable situations, you could say. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to make videos like this if I didn't have some sort of like level of extrovertedness about myself. But in terms of like, where do I get my energy from? How do I just recharge and live my day-to-day life, is doing things by myself. I travel by myself. I go to the cinema by myself. I go to concerts by myself. Like I am just someone who's always been like that. Like when I was a kid, like I didn't need friends. Like my mom was like, go out, find your friends. And I was like, I don't want to. So it's not that I don't have friends. It's not that I don't like people. That's not it at all. It's just that I am just someone who is really good at just doing things by themselves. I just really enjoy it. I feel you experience things far more intensely if you're doing it by yourself. And, you know, you don't have to wait for others to get the money together to go on that trip. In terms of what I like to do and how I like to run my life, I just really, really enjoy doing it by myself. That's all I can say about that. And don't be afraid to, you know, choose for yourself. That's the thing I learned back in 2009. Hey. Question number 8. I would like to know which are your favorite shows on series on Netflix, especially now that we are mostly staying at home. I really like Lucifer. Like the new season was out and I was like, yay, Lucifer. That's been a solid favorite. Like I binge watched that was it last year that they came out with that over the summertime? I really binge watched that. Anything else? Like the thing is with like Netflix and streaming services in general, I feel, this is the bronzer I'm using, Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. the problem I have with streaming service is that it's not all that memorable to me. Like, I will remember things that I've put more time and effort to, and you know, with Netflix, you just kind of put it on and you watch it and you forget about it again. I did watch about like 50 movies over the summertime though. So yeah, that was definitely that. I went to see Tenet. Loved it. Oh my, I love a clever action movie. And this is just so clever and so well done. And I was like, will that happen? And then it happened. And I was like, yes, you know? So I really like that. I just watched The Umbrella Academy, binge watched that, like 2 seasons. Over the weekend, I watched Enola Holmes, which has just come out on Netflix. The Devil All the Time, I watched as well. Yeah, I've been really into movies lately though. And one of my all-time favorite movies is actually on Netflix. So if you don't know, I love like British gangster movies. like those Guy Ritchie movies. Like I just love it. This is my highlighter, by the way. Zoeva Cinnamon Sky from their Soft Sun collection. And it's just one of my favorites. It's actually not a Guy Ritchie movie, but it's by Matthew Vaughn. And it's the movie that introduced me to Daniel Craig, and that's Layer Cake. That's one of my all-time favorite movies, which I actually saw at a cinema in New York back in 2004, 5-ish, or something like that. So yeah, that's a really good gangster movie, in case you're wondering. So yeah, that's like my favorite thing. Heist movies, gangsters. Can't get enough of that sort of thing. If it has like mobsters in it or whatever, then I'm game. Etude House it's the Lovely Cookie Blusher in Ginger Honey Cookie. I need to say the whole thing, else I can't get it right. So yeah, those are some of the things I've been watching. Yeah, is there anything else? Like, it just kind of changes. I mean, I do have like a few movies that I like to watch when I'm ill. Like at the start of this month, I wasn't feeling the best. And then I watched, you know, Mary Poppins, Sound of Music, Twilight, Harry Potter. Like then I go back to my comfort zone. And question number 9, if you had $1 million, what would you do? I don't know, like pay off my house for sure, travel for a bit, help my parents out a bit, help my brother out a bit. I don't know, put some in like savings accounts and put some of it on the stock market and trying to let my money work for me, I guess. And just, you know, enough money to live comfortably for a longer period of time so I can work less, spend more time doing YouTube and doing the things I enjoy. I definitely wouldn't squander it on like just buying expensive things. Like, I have no interest in that. So I would definitely try to just make sure that, you know, first take a long vacation to let it sink in. And then I would calmly decide where the money would go. And then I would definitely share it with some people and all that. Just the basics, I guess. All right, I just double primed my lids with my MAC Paint Pot and Painterly, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is my little The Body Shop, oh yes you can, eyeshadow, and a hit pan, yay! So now we're getting to questions about YouTube and blogging. And YouTube and blogging, people asking me, like, why did you start your blog and your YouTube channel? What made you take the leap to just do it? To be quite honest, I was just bored. I already told you I like doing things by myself. That also means that you risk having interests that you don't always share with other people. And like makeup, and especially at that time nails, I was really into nail polish at the time, and also like my fashion choices and all that. It's always been different from other people, and I remember just really being like just bored on the one hand, and I missed writing a lot, so I wanted to write, and that's why I started my blog on literally a day like today, super rainy, super gray, miserable weather outside, with like nowhere to go. And I was like, okay, we'll just give it a shot. I thought I'd do it for like 2 weeks and I would be losing interest because I'd never been good at doing anything like consistently, like keeping a diary or anything like that. I would do it for like 3 weeks and then I'd stop. And then this just kind of kept going. I started to recognize that some content worked better as a video than as a blog post. So that's when I sort of dabbled into making videos, and I started this YouTube channel back in 2014. And I would just do a video when I felt that the content would work better as a video than as a blog post. And I think I did that for like 3 years or so, and then slowly but surely I made making YouTube videos part of the game. So I started with 1 video a week, which became 2 videos a week, and I've only actually been doing 3 videos a week for about a year and a half. So it all grew very gradually, and as I sort of shifted my focus and I became better at making videos, because that's a learning curve you have to go through as well. Like, everyone can open up a blog and like edit some pictures and write, but making videos takes a little bit more effort and skills in order to like know how to edit it and get it online, and like it's more of a process. I felt that I was especially if you watch some of my first videos. They're up on my other channel though, so I'm not gonna lie that. I'm not really going to link any of those. Those are, no. let's not. Question number 11, what does floating in dreams mean? To be quite honest, I don't know. It was a MySpace name, I think, or MSN that I used to use way back when in the day, and it just kind of stuck, and I just never changed it. If you're only finding me now, that's why, because I haven't been focusing on mainly beauty related content until like fairly recently, because I just have so many more interests, and I wanted the blog to be about my interests. So I didn't really try to pin it down on anything for a long time, and that's why floating in dreams kind of like covered everything for me. And then this question was asked in Dutch. So someone asked me why my channel and my blog are in English. Well, hello, if you don't know, I'm an English teacher, step 1. Step 2, I've been speaking English on a daily basis since I was 18 years old. It's second nature for me to be doing things in English. And for me, actually, the question would be like, why would you want to make content online in Dutch? Like, I don't, like, by now there is a lot more going on, but I think like 10, 15 years ago, there were barely any like blogs or anything like that going on in Dutch. It just didn't really exist. You have a much better, like a much bigger audience at your disposal if you make videos in English. That's definitely, I think, a way in why a lot of people find me, is because I do Catrice and Essence product reviews in English. And a lot of those reviews are only available in Dutch, German, or Russian, which aren't languages that everybody speaks. So that's why, I think that's why actually at first people started finding my content. That's pretty much why. For me, it was just, I didn't even have to think about it. And that's probably to do with the fact that I just, like, these bookcases behind me, I have one shelf filled with Dutch books and everything else is in English. Which, if you think about it, that my native language is Dutch, that's actually quite crazy. But yeah, I engage more with English language media on a daily basis. I speak English at work on a daily basis. Like, for me, English is just everywhere. And like, even in my spare time, like if I go, like I do like dance things, and that's always pretty international too. So I do English every single day of the week. So for me, there is really no question why I wouldn't be doing this in English. And the next one is actually also linked to this, because someone asked me about writing and whether it's a habit of mine and what helps me to maintain it. I'm an English teacher. So same answer here again. I teach writing. I teach essay writing. I teach, well, not so much creative writing, but I do teach my students how to write blogs. So that is something that I like kind of threw in there. I was like, they need to be able to write for online media, right? So sort of like, and then I could use my own experience a little bit too, even though the assignment I want them to do is different from what I do on my blog. But yeah, writing is just something that I loved doing when I was at university. Like, essay writing was like my favorite thing. So for me, that's also the reason why I started blogging, because I missed writing. So for me, yes, it is a habit. and I maintain it because I do it every day, because I write blog posts on an almost daily basis. Plus I teach it. It kind of helps. Question number 14. If you would ever do a collab on your YouTube channel, with who would you like to do it? You know, I know that like on YouTube, it's very like, you need to try and be part of like a niche or a family. Like you have these bloggers who all know each other, and with blogging, it was also like that. And then I come back to something I said earlier, like I like doing things by myself. Like I do like having, like I'm in an app group with some ladies who also have blogs and YouTube channels, so we can like brainstorm. Like if we have problems with something, we can ask like, hey, is this working for you? Or hey, can you check out this? And so we kind of help each other that way. So from that perspective, it's nice to know some people. But right now, I wouldn't mind doing a collab. Like there's so many people that I love watching. So I really like the first person that pops into my head is Natasha from Too Much Tash. I really like Angelica Newqvist. I really enjoy Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. Like there's a lot of people that I like watching, but it's not that I necessarily go like, ooh, I want to do a collab with you. Not necessarily. But yeah, if anyone would be ever open to it, then yeah. But it's just I would need an idea, and it's something we can do together. And I don't know. It already takes a lot of brain space just to run my own game, and to then also factor in someone else's. Like, I don't know how. I really don't know how. Oh yeah, so this is someone asked me, they were also a teacher, and they asked me, like, I also do YouTube, and I feel very self-conscious about having a YouTube channel and a blog that my students can see. Do you ever feel like this? How do you overcome this? I definitely felt very self-conscious about having a blog and a YouTube channel the first few years I had it. Like, I don't think, like the first 5 years of blogging, I didn't tell anyone about it. Like I was just like hanging out here, doing my thing. And sometimes students would find me and they would go like, Miss, I found your blog. Or they would like leave a comment, and it was all really nice. But yeah, I've been actively showing students my blog and my YouTube channel. And for instance, I take them behind the scenes of like stats, and just so I can show them like how it all works and how you can like see whether something does well, or like I can sort of show them the practical side of things, which I feel that very often if you take like some sort of like marketing course, it's all about the strategies, but not how you can actually see that they work. So for me, that's always been, but I'm just doing this for fun. I have no means of like really trying to make this a career. Like that's not what's behind this at all. So I always tell them, I'm just having a bit of fun. This is something I like to do in my spare time. Yes, teachers have hobbies. They don't just live at school and you don't see them again. I have a life, and this is one of the things that I like to do in my life. So I do have to say, though, that I teach higher education. It's a question that's coming up as well. So that makes it perhaps a little bit easier. Let me just like stop rambling, because I feel like I'm rambling. I am going to do an eye look with the Melt Gemini. I promised this in my favorite fall palette video. So I'm going to be using this to make a lovely, grungy makeup look for you guys. So I'm going to zoom you in, and I'll just keep talking about the questions as I'm doing the eye look, and I'll tell you about the shades I use, etc. afterwards. All right, so the next question would be, who is your favorite YouTuber or blogger from the Netherlands or Belgium? And to be quite honest, I used to watch quite a few people from the Netherlands and like read their blogs, and like I was like a standard commenter on a lot of different places, but a lot of them stopped making beauty content and went more into like things like vlogging or like other things that aren't necessarily okay. I felt we were a little bit dark there, so I changed the lighting settings a little bit of my camera. But yeah, I don't follow that many anymore. The only person whose videos I still watch religiously is Vera Camilla. She's the only person I really still watch. But she's mainly now doing Instagram, it seems, and like videos she's had to dial down because of her burnout, which is totally understandable. But yeah, whenever she posts a new video, I'm there. I'm like, girl, I still love you. She still has really solid content. Plus she's kept to beauty. And that's the only reason why I still watch her videos, because I just find that that's where my interest lies the most. And I find that with a lot of YouTubers actually, that once they sort of stop doing what made me watch them in the first place. So for instance, there are a couple of fashion vloggers that I used to follow, like not even like Dutch ones, but just in general. And then, you know, they start doing a lot more vlog content, because I think it's just better from like a monetary perspective to do lots of vlogs, because you can jam so much content into it. But I'm just like sick of like people going like reorganizing my makeup collection, and then it's like out of a 35-minute vlog, it's like a 5-minute segment and you need to watch the entire video to find it. And for me, that's just not what I want. So for me, I just stopped watching a lot of those people, because that's what they started doing. And a lot of their blogs are, you know, either dead, and because I've been making so much content myself, I also simply don't have the time to be watching and reading a lot of blogs and things like that. Now we're a bit dark again. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. I don't really engage with it. So another, like a fashion blogger that I really like is Etude House. She's going to release a book in 2021. I actually went to one of her styling sessions and it was a lot of fun. She is a really, really good, she has just such a great sense of fashion, and she totally, like when I heard her talk about fashion, I was like, yes, girl, I'm here for it. I'm down. That's how I feel about it too. So it's just, that's just someone who I also really follow, and she should be back with like more videos very soon. But that's like the only two Dutch people that I still watch. Everybody else, English. Like from the US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, like that's pretty much who I watch the most. Or at least, you know, people who make videos in English, I should say. I think I've watched people from like pretty much all around the globe, but that's the main catch area, I would say. What pet peeves do you have about beauty videos? I was wondering how I should interpret this question actually. Is it about making them or watching them? Because I'm not entirely sure, because of course I could give you both perspectives. I mean, I still watch a lot of YouTube for sure. I just really enjoy it. Sometimes, you know, more so than others, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm gonna go super deep. And it's just, I don't know, like about making them, like one of my biggest pet peeves is that I know I cannot satisfy everyone, and there's a nice little X button on the window that you can just X out this video or any video I make that you don't like. Whereas some people will like leave comments and you're just like, why do you even attempt to watch a video that is clearly not your thing? Like, you know, you post an eyeshadow palette video and you give like 25,000 warnings of like, hey, I've got 200 of these things, so if you don't like huge makeup collections or eyeshadow palette collections, then please don't watch. And then people will still leave comments saying, why do you have so many? You should get rid of at least half. And you're like, why did you watch this? Why, like, and that's the thing, like the only thing I can do, and that's always been the power, I think, of something like YouTube is, you know, it brings so many people, different people together. And the only thing I can do is sort of like come at this from my experience, and that's pretty much it. And I know I cannot please each and every person out there, because that's just not feasible. I'd love to, and the only thing I can hope for is that when you click on my videos, that you like them. That's the only thing. And when it comes to watching beauty videos, I also have a pet peeve, and that is that I just find that so much of it is so extreme and overdone. And yes, the lighting of my videos isn't always the best, and the audio isn't always the best, and I'm very well aware. But that's how YouTube got started, people, with people in their living rooms making beauty videos, and I would like to keep that vibe going as much as possible, because if I want to see professionally produced content, I'm not going to YouTube for that. I can open a magazine. I don't need this platform for that. So for me, but that's perhaps because I'm a bit old, like I'm in my 30s. So I remember the days when we had no online content, you could say. So for me, I just think that there are other things than YouTube that could make it possible to, you know, consume certain content. I don't need this. Next question. How do you organize your time to get everything done? Everything that you do. It's so much. Book reviews, makeup reviews, blog posts, videos. And yeah, I work a full-time job in education too. I just spend every free moment that I have on content creation, you could say, which is why, you know, certain things for me are just not feasible, because making the content is already so time consuming that I don't have time to also promote it and to set up collabs and, I don't know, connect with brands to receive PR. Like, I just don't have the time. Like, when would I also have to do that? Like, I'm also grading stuff and doing other things, and this is supposed to still be fun. So I mainly film and take videos during days off, vacations, weekends. That's when I make content or create it. And then for like the editing and the writing of it, I just do that like the night before things go live. Like today, I'm filming this after work because I didn't have time to clean my brushes yet, and I wanted to have clean brushes for filming this video. So that's why we're doing this right now. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Like, sometimes you just need to make that work. But yeah, I just squeeze it in. And you know, once you have the pictures and the videos and all that, then it's a matter of editing it and writing it all up, putting it together, and that usually doesn't take that long. For videos, it takes more time than blog posts. Like last night's blog post, I wrote this review in like 30 minutes. Like, that's how much time it takes me. And I do have to say that the fact that I have so much experience with writing and things like that, I think does help. Because I don't even proofread everything I put online. Like, there are typos, I will go back to it like 2 days later. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have made that typo. And then I'm like, oh, well, you didn't even proofread it. So for someone who doesn't even really read before they post it, like I just write it straight down, hit publish. That's all I do. So there isn't a lot of quality control, you could say. However, I will redo things if I really feel they're not up to par. Like, I do have standards. It's not if I think like, oh yeah, I need to get that out there. No, that's not how it goes. That's not how it goes. Because I do want to make sure I have watchable videos. But for instance, right now, it's so dark and gloomy out there that the coloring of this eyeshadow look is just completely off. Completely off. And there's nothing I can do about it. It looks a lot more lovely in real life. Oh well. Now, another question. Where did you get your inspiration for creating blogs and videos? To be quite honest, a lot of it is product focused. So as long as I keep shopping, I have inspiration. Of course, a lot of you are leaving me comments with ideas as well, which I always appreciate. But like I mentioned, I already have my content planned out for the rest of the year. Like December. So what I'll do is, like, I have a document for like an entire month. That is the running month where I plan all my videos, like when I want to post something, so that I spread. Like, I don't do 3 palette videos in a row and then you don't get any palette content anymore. So I try to spread it out like that. And then what I also like to do is that I have like a running document where I sort of keep a list of potential ideas for the months to come. And then I have another list of ideas that, you know, long term I could at some point still do. And some of that is based off of blog posts or just content. Like, if I see other people do like a type of video then that I really like, then I'll take note of that and then I do that. So it's just a lot of different things. And some things also just happen. Like at some point I was like, oh, but I do this Shop My Stash every single month. Why shouldn't I also not, you know, talk to people about those products in a Get Ready With Me? So that's how this video kind of came to be. I was doing Get Ready With Me's, but they didn't have a lot of purpose behind them. And then I think sometime this year I was like, oh yeah, I might as well make the link. All right, so what shades did I use from the Gemini palette? So I started the look off with Mochi in the crease. That's most of that green look you get. But I did put Lorelei in there as well to warm it up and make it a bit more brown toned. Then I used Cupcake, that darkest brown, in my outer V to sort of create this like more cat eye kind of shape. I used Goals all over the lid because that shimmering green is just absolutely stunning. And then I think I used, I used Fire OG and Leo on the lower lash line, which I blended out with Luma. And I now realize that I forgot to use an inner corner highlight. So I'm going to put Gemini in the inner corner. And then I used Bonnie, which is the black, as liner on my top lash line. So save for Polka Dot, I just used every single shade in this palette. I mean, isn't this just a lovely, lovely fall look? I love it. I love it. So now we're going to go in with the Sungasm Setting Spray by Catrice. That's done. And then we'll apply mascara, and then I've got lipstick. But we've got more questions. Do you get PR packages, and is it really difficult to get? So I think this was asked by someone who would like to start doing this as well. Girls and guys, whoever is watching this, if you want to get into blogging and YouTubing because you're going to get free makeup, think again. It's not hard to get PR at all. It's just, do you want that? And for me, the choice has been very clear from the start. That I would rather buy makeup myself, and if I can then use AdSense money from this account to put that money towards buying makeup, then that would make me happy. Like, it would be nice if that was like a 50-50 thing kind of thing. But I'd rather not get PR from brands because it means that the brands tell me what to like and what I should be talking about. And I really like making the selection myself, seeing what's out there. Plus, I feel that one of the reasons why I stopped watching some YouTubers or why I stopped interacting with certain bloggers is because they became totally unrelatable, because they no longer understood what it's like to spend 55 euros on an eyeshadow palette. I do. I space out my spending. Sure, I also work a full-time job, and this channel is bringing in a teensy little bit of money. So not even every month, I have to say. So I'd rather do it like that than trying to establish relationships with brands only to get them to send me stuff. Like, that's not the purpose. Like, I would love to be on PR lists. I am on PR lists, but mainly I just get like press release, like information. I don't really get the products. Also because I'm not like super duper huge, of course, but I do get some stuff from Good Molecules. And so far I really like their skincare stuff. That's something that's totally up my street. So that's why I would like to keep on receiving that PR, because it's just something that I really enjoy trying. But I don't need to receive every line that Too Faced comes out with, because I haven't been interested in a Too Faced product in about a year, maybe longer. So for me, it's very important that I decide where my money goes to and what products I bring into my collection, and that it's not dictated by a brand just because they have a new release, if that makes sense. So for me, that's been very important. And one of the driving forces actually behind how I run my channel and my blog. So let's just do mascara. I've got the Maybelline Last Sensational. And can I talk, answer a question, and do mascara at the same time, or is that too challenging? Not entirely sure. Let's just try this. I think we're a bit dark. Yeah. So now we're getting into the last 4 questions I would like to answer. which is about teaching slash my English, I think people also had some questions about. So this goes more into my job. So someone asked, what is your dream job? If teaching is your dream job, another question, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? I think I already tackled that question. So my dream job, actually, as a kid, it changed a lot, but when I was like right before I decided that I might want to go into teaching, I wanted to be a dancer. I took dance classes my entire life, and when I was 14, my mom was like, go ahead, figure out what you need to do. And then I figured out that I had missed about every single audition that I could potentially go on, and then that I wouldn't be able to take an audition until I was 16. So somewhere in that time period, between 14 and 16, I had decided to keep on dancing because I never stopped, but to also, like, I just got other interests, and then I decided that I wanted to try to become a teacher or a journalist. And when I went to university, that's exactly what I set out to do. Oh, we're getting a little bit of a smudge there. That's exactly what I set out to do. I just selected my university based on the fact that they did both English and journalism, and that I could do a teaching degree after I got my master's. I wanted to go on an exchange. Ooh, more smudging. We'll fix that in a minute. And that's pretty much how that went down. I gave everything a try, tried journalism, didn't like it very much, started teaching, something clicked into place. That's how it happened. So yeah, for me, teaching, dream job, it's been there since I was 14, so I have no other answer but yes, I guess. 22, when and why did you decide to become a teacher? So I just told you. Could you tell us a bit more about your teaching history? So for me, as I mentioned, when I started teaching, something clicked into place. So my very first teaching job was actually teaching Dutch to expats when I was still a student. So I was studying for my master's degree when I actually already started teaching. I wanted to try it. That was one. So I wanted to try teaching and to see if it was something for me. So I got this like side job, side gig, that kind of thing. And like I said, something just clicked, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I did my teaching degree, and I taught at secondary school for 2 years. Didn't really like teaching secondary school because I don't really like raising kids. It's just not my forte. I need them to be adults where I can say, you need to take responsibility for your actions. Then it works out. So then I made the switch to higher education, and that's where I've been teaching for the past 15, well, I've been teaching for 15 years now, so, but I've been teaching in higher education for over 10, so. So yeah, that also answers the next question. I would like to know, what level do you teach English? I teach at higher education. I teach at a Dutch college currently, but that's going to change very, very soon, because as of November, I will be changing jobs and I will be teaching at the Dutch government. That's about all that I'm going to say about it, because I'm not sure how much I can share about that job just yet. I want to check with them when I get in how much I can share online and what I should and shouldn't say. So I first want to make sure I sort of, they know I do stuff online. I already told them. But like, I'm not sure. Like I first need to figure out how much I can actually talk about a job. Like I got a new job, so I'm very excited about that. So question number 24, and this will be the last questions, and then I'm going to slap on a lipstick and we're going to call it a day for this video. How did you get such a neutral accent? See, I knew there was a question about my English. Did you live in an English-speaking country for a while, or just through videos, podcasts, and people? Yes and no. Also my English journey, like there's a journey here. So I didn't really start to like learn English until I was 10. It's definitely not my first language. But my grandma and granddad had English lessons when I was a kid, and I thought it was super fascinating that you could learn how to speak a different language. So my grandma did teach me certain things when I was like 5. And I remember being super excited for our first English lessons at primary school, which were absolutely worthless, like not anything I could use in an everyday setting. We mainly just watched videotapes that were really badly produced in the 80s, like these 4 education videos. It was terrible. So I didn't really properly start to learn English until I was 12 and went to high school. But I was always someone who very much already engaged in English language media, like all of MTV was in English, so I used to watch that. I was a huge Backstreet Boys fan for most of my teens and 20s, so I very much engaged with that as well because they spoke English, so I had to understand English if I wanted to marry Nick Carter. Like, my 13-year-old brain, that definitely made sense. So I think that I did put in extra effort compared to other people. Then my parents took me and my brother on some vacations going to England, and I got to do all the talking. So for me, at first it was like sort of gradual, quite natural. Then I did a course where I just studied English, and where I live in the Netherlands, that means you also need to learn the language very well. So all my papers had to be in English, all my classes were in English. And then you really take a leap in terms of like how much English you really do. Also part of that was just improving your English in general. That's also when I started watching a lot of BBC, CNN. I didn't have an internet connection yet, so I was sort of dependent on like mainstream media. Things like YouTube didn't even exist at the time. But I just engaged with it a lot. I ended up also getting like subscriptions to things like Newsweek and Time Magazine and reading those kind of things to, again, also expose myself to a higher professional level of English. And then I also went on an exchange, as I already mentioned. So that went to the US. Fun fact, and this is probably the answer to the neutral accent question, I don't have a neutral accent, okay? Nobody has a neutral accent because there's no such thing. But then I go off on a tangent that has nothing to do with this video, and it's very specific and would interest absolutely nobody apart from me and the language nerd inside me. But at my university course, we had to do accent training. But the accent training I received was for received pronunciation, which is standard British English. So I was actually taught how to do, like, how they speak on the BBC. That's what I was taught. Okay. But then I went to the US on exchange for 6 months, and I'd always preferred an American accent. So then I went to the US for 6 months and I came back sounding American. So then I switched for my last pronunciation exam, I switched to American English. And then I think as I sort of stayed more in the Netherlands, it kind of like sort of merged together with like my Dutch background and then having British accent training and my experience living in the US kind of conglomerated into this, what I sound like now. I definitely sounded more American when I was just like fresh out of that exchange experience, because I actually have a recording of myself from my master's degree where I speak English and I sound far more American than I do now. So that's definitely changed. And I think that's the teaching experience that changed that, because I teach both in our Dutch course as well as in our international course, and I've taught people from pretty much all around the globe. So that means that everybody needs to be able to understand me, whether it's the Dutch kids who barely can speak any English at all, to people who are very advanced and maybe at a native speaker level. So in my entire teaching career, I've taught native speakers, people from Bulgaria, people from Italy, people from Spain, people from all over the globe, you know? So I've had to like sort of adapt, you could say, to make it understandable for a very wide group of people. And I think that's why I sort of ended up with this thing that I've got going on. And yes, my background in English, by the way, is linguistics. And I wrote a master's degree thesis on accent variation. So this is sort of like my expertise. So that's why I know a lot about it. And I teach pronunciation in classes too. So yeah, for me, this is, this is just one of the things I really like. So lipstick next. It's getting super dark. So I think I've got a neutral, which is my custom Bite lipstick, which could be very nice. It's a very warm toned one, but I think I want to go for something fun. This is, what's this called again? Firebird by Urban Decay. And I thought it was very similar to Max Rebel. When I put it on the first time, I was like, that's nothing like Max Rebel. It's a bit more purple, I'd say. And I think it makes a very nice contrast with the green. And everyone always tells me how good I look in bright lipstick, so want to throw this one on for you. Yes, I like that. Now this is going to get all over my teeth in a minute. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I need to start rounding this thing off because I'm losing a lot of daylight. I've been talking for over an hour. You guys, I hope you enjoyed me answering these questions. I know I rambled a little bit here and there. I still have about 20 or so questions to still answer about makeup, so stay tuned. I will do a Q&A about that at some point in time, and I hope you enjoyed this month's makeup look as well. I certainly do. I think this is very fall appropriate and I just really like it. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you to everyone who entered my giveaway. I really appreciated all your questions and comments. So please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week. So I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.